Got any update on Tanner?
Yes, he was better today. He's day-to-day. I'd say him, Jordan Curley are day-to-day right now. They are progressing, and it's probably going to come up to Friday, Saturday as a game-time decision, but they are getting better.
Mm-hmm. And then just on that note, I mean, getting Preston ready for potential first start, how do you guys kind of ramp up his workload or just handle being the number one?
Yeah, I think the difference is, normally in a week when, you're repping as the 2, you may get 20% of the reps. The other guy gets, the full set, and you get about 20 of what he normally gets. And it's just flipped. So in one case, if he needs to play, he'll be ready with more reps than he was, say, even last week, right? So he had to go in last week and play on limited reps. And that's the way it is here and the next level. So that's the biggest thing is he's getting more reps this week. Kevin Jennings is getting those 2 reps now in the event that he's needed as well. So, like I said, if Tanner's ready to go, great. Preston will be prepared. And if not, then Preston's gotten the bulk of the reps.
If Tanner can't practice much the rest of the week, I mean, how much does that factor in when you do make a decision on Friday if he is available?
Yeah, I mean, we'll take everything into consideration. I think the bottom line is, if your starting quarterback's ready to go, you're gonna start him. And if he's not, he won't. And we're gonna do what's best for his health and safety more than anything. But he's progressing well, and like I said, I think we'll have a better idea probably Friday.
Just what is it like going through that progression of return to play coming off of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just we go through the progression that everyone else in the country goes through, and there's like once you're symptom-free, there's like a 4-day kind of protocol you got to get to leading up to the game, and so we're in that right now.
Kamar Wheaton obviously got a little more action immediately as well.
Yep.
I mean, what have you seen from him, and I guess how good was it for him to actually get into a flow of things rather than just one shot,
I think it was great. I think you saw the potential explosion that he has that we've been missing kind of in our run game, and so he had the big run right before half for about 20 yards. He had another one that was good, and so like I said, we've intentionally taken him a lot slower than maybe any of us would have wanted, but I think you're starting to see it pay off because he played really well and probably deserves more opportunities.
You mentioned that progress that he's made. I think you knew him as a recruit. What has it been like to see him mature into the role that he can have that you gave him against Cincinnati that he earned versus kind of where he was kind of in the past couple of years of his life, I guess?
Yeah, no, I think he deserves a lot of credit for how he's working. He's practicing extremely hard, therefore he's prepared and ready to play. The things he's doing off the field with school and all those things, everything's trending up for him. In a year where our running back room, someone's hurt different every week, it's kind of been a revolving door, which has made it tough. But he's hung in there, he's progressed, and he's getting his opportunity now.
And what is it like, talking to him, he said he'll just go when his number's called, he's ready to do whatever, but then later said, I still wish I got more carries. What is it like to have a guy who wants the ball every snap, but also isn't going to disrupt things by complaining or anything like that?
That's the kind of guys you want. Look, I've never known a really good running back to not want 20-plus carries, and honestly, that's really what we'd like to get towards. So, like I said, if we can get consistency at that position with the health of those guys, I think you'll see us start to grow towards that trend. But no, his attitude's been great.
Perhaps a dumb question, but with needing to win 3 games and 5 to be bowl eligible, just how pivotal is this week?
Every week's pivotal. It's not a dumb question; it's a fair question. But and when you start looking at it that way, yeah, that's the truth. But I saw something today. I think the opponents we played this year through 7 weeks, they have like a 63% winning percentage. I think if you take our 1AA opponent out, it's like 74, 75%. We played really good people. We've been competitive. We've not gotten the results we wanted at times. We just got to keep doing what we're doing. We have a good team. We're not far off. We got a lot of injuries. We do have a lot of guys. It's week 7, week 8. We're not the only team in the country that's probably dealing with that. So we got to have some guys step up that maybe haven't as much this year. It's a pivotal game because it's the next one. Just because we need a win. We've played too good a football to not have more wins in our win column, and so I think that's what we're looking for.
Tulsa's defense presents some interesting looks, just kind of like TCU or whatever, but they're in this year 7 of it or whatever they are. What do you see from this Tulsa defense? And after a game where Tanner got some pressure, how do you kind of tweak some of those things?
Well, honestly, 3 of the sacks were on a quarterback. For as good as Cincy is, when you go back and look at it, we didn't give up as much pressure. I think they probably had 3 legitimate sacks. They're pretty good at that. The other 2 or 3 should have definitely been throwaways, and we didn't have a lot of negative plays in the run game. Actually, our running backs averaged over 5 yards a carry. The sacks really killed that. So I feel still really good about our protection. Tulsa is in a year 6, 7, whatever it is in that scheme. They promoted within same scheme, but at a different level of it. And right now, I think they're number 1 in the country against the pass. It says a lot. So, and they've had our number lately. We've struggled finding ways to beat Tulsa over the last 3 or 4 years. So it presents a big challenge.
And the history of it goes even back even further when SMU trying to win up there. Is that something? I mean, that you bring up as motivation? I mean, they don't.
No, just because a lot of these guys don't know. Like I remember in 18, we went up there and lost the game by I think 3. That's the only time I've been up there. I guess that would have meant we lost in 20 as well. But these guys don't. They don't know. They don't care. The bottom line is I think they beat us 3 out of the last 4, the last 2, and Phillip does an excellent job. They're always very, very competitive. They're good on offense. They're good on defense. They don't have a lot of weaknesses. So we're going to have to play good for 4 quarters.
What have you seen from Kevin Henry Jennings from the moment you guys got him to now that would probably, I guess, give you more confidence if he is staying good?
I just love his demeanor. He's just you can tell. Look, there's really good players at his high school every year, but you can tell why they won a state championship. It's his leadership, his demeanor, who he is. Very much like Preston and Tanner, the moments aren't too big for him. That's what you want as an intangible and a quarterback. I think from the moment he got here, we felt like he threw the ball as well as we thought he was going to. He's as athletic, if not more than we thought. But I'd just say his ability to absorb the playbook, learn what we're doing, like he's going to know what to do if he has to play. It's a matter of just then doing it, which that's something that comes only with experience. But he'll be ready.
Here's an interesting one for you. A lot has been made of NIL and how it affects locker rooms and things like that, and there's a lot of different things that are popping up with that lately. It seems like around the country. Have you guys, or do you as a coach kind of have to approach players differently now that they're quote unquote earning money or things like that? Do you just try to manage that at all?
I bet at some point, yes. We've not had any issues with it. Right. Obviously there's some groups that do things for our players that has been really good for them. We've not had any issues with it internally. I can't speak to everyone else around the country. I'm kind of in my own little bubble right now. But, look, I think we know this thing's going to continually evolve, and nothing that comes up will surprise me, to be honest with you. But so far, we've not had any things we've had to deal with.
Tulsa offensively, just what have you seen with them? A relatively experienced quarterback.
Yeah. Experienced quarterback, playing really well. I think him and Tanner have been tops in the league most of the year throwing. Same thing with Stokes, their receiver. And then they've always had big backs and they run it downhill. And Phillip, that's something they do really well. So to me, it's exactly what I remembered Tulsa being. It's their downhill run game. They can really throw the football. They got a wideout who's really good, a quarterback who's experienced. And on defense, again, they make you earn it with the robber defense they play. And they're really, really big. That's what they've tried to do since Phillip got there. They've recruited to it now after years. They just are big. Their D linemen are big. Their linebackers are big. Their corners are big. Their safeties are big. Their running backs are big. Like, they're just big. And so they're pretty physical.
Coaches, I guess, without scoreboard watching, there's so much left. But obviously UCF losing, kind of keeps you guys a little bit in that conversation. Is that something you point out to the guys that, hey, we talked championship before the season and we take care of business and some chips fall?
I have it right now just because, we're going to talk championship every year. No one's going to go into a season with that not as an end goal. The biggest thing we've wanted to do is finish well. And, we can still do those things. And so in order to do that, we got to go win this week. All those other things kind of will take care of themselves if we can finish and get on a roll and continue to play good football, maybe play better consistently for 4 quarters and do the things we need to do in tight games against good people to find a way to win. I think this week, will give us that opportunity to see if we can do that again like we were able to do against Navy.